Hi guys, my name is Ruby and today I'm going to be showing you how you can create this fake wound using special effects makeup. You could use it for Halloween or to prank your friends or something. So first I'm getting some scar wax. This is homemade scar wax made with Vaseline and flour. I'll put a recipe in the description. And I'm just putting that on my hand and using a palette knife with Vaseline on just to blend that into my skin. The Vaseline helps it to blend easier and more smoothly, and if you're blending with your fingers instead of a palette knife, it will stop the scar wax from sticking to your hands. You just want to make sure that the blend is completely smooth so you can't tell the difference between the scar wax and your actual skin, because you're basically trying to create the illusion that the scar wax is your skin so that you can put fake cuts into it. As you can see, that is what mine looks like when I'm done. You can always go in with your fingers afterwards just to make sure that it's blended perfectly. So now I'm going to be using some baking flour to take away the shine. You can use translucent setting powder, but I'm just using flour. This will keep it in place and take away the shine. Okay, so now I'm going to be cutting the wound into the scar wax. You can paint the line, like an outline of where you want to cut, but I didn't do this because I was using a reference image, so I basically knew the shape that I wanted. You just want to scratch that out and make sure you're happy with it, and then just remove the scar wax from the thing that you carved out. And now I'm just making the edges look all kind of raggedy. I don't even know how to describe it. Just make it look like it's an actual wound. I also didn't make my scar wax go out enough, so I just added a little bit more. And that's roughly the shape I wanted. I wanted it to be a circle that was kind of more wide at the top, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm also adding some small cuts to my fingers. I added 2 on my index finger and 1 on my ring finger. Basically, you want to make a little sausage out of the scar wax and blend that out with the Vaseline. As you can see, I'm doing it right now. You want to make sure that it doesn't bump out too much. You basically want to follow the line of your actual finger. Okay, I've skipped the bit where I did it on the other fingers, but I just did the same process. So now you can cut the slits into the scar wax, just like that, with the palette knife. And I'm setting it with some flour again. So now I'm matching the scar wax to my skin colour. Obviously this is different for everyone because everyone has a different skin colour, but I like to use light washes of reds to match my skin's undertone. I like it to be quite watery, and then if I put too much I can just dab it off with a wet wipe. You definitely don't want to go make it too red or anything like that, because it would basically just look like you put ketchup around your wound. If it does look like ketchup, just get a little towel or wet wipe and just dab over it. I was doing this really lightly because I wanted it to turn out well. As you can see there, I did it and I made it look like ketchup. I just dabbed it off and it comes off quite easily. Okay, and for the fingers, it's basically the same principle. You just want to get light washes of red and put them on top of the wax to take away the yellow colour. If the wax matches your skin perfectly, you obviously don't have to do that, but that's what I do. Now I'm putting red in the inside of the slit. I also added a bit of texture on the inside of the main wound, just because if you cut yourself, obviously it's not going to be your actual skin underneath. There's going to be flesh and stuff, and adding a bit of scar wax on the inside creates the impression that it looks a little bit like flesh. And then you want to put some red face paint on top. You can use alcohol activated paints, they will probably turn out better, but if you're just a beginner, they can be quite expensive. That's why I don't have one, because they're way too expensive and I don't want to spend my money on one. But now to make the wound look a bit more textured, I'm also adding light washes of black paint on the inside. You don't want to paint the whole thing black, because if you cut yourself, obviously that's not going to be black on the inside, it's going to be red. But the black mixed with the red will create a darker red, which will make it look like there's more depth to the wound and make it look a little bit more realistic. I think now I'm adding blood, and I'm using a dark, kind of thick, coagulated blood. You can use a drippy red blood, but I wanted it to look more deep, and if you have a more deep cut, it's still going to be red blood, but just a little bit darker. And you want to make sure that it's evenly put on the wound, not just in one spot. I also put a little bit of blood on the outside of the wound, and I was pretty much done. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and press the bell. Also go and follow me on TikTok, so close to 100,000.